High school seniors, especially those we feature here, are busy. Schoolwork, activities, family and work obligations, and maintaining relationships are the day-to-day struggles set against the broader backdrop of choosing a university, choosing a career path, a future. How much of that future is dependent upon the past, or planned and pursued in spite of it, depends on the senior. In this episode of Senior Spotlight, we travel to Lincoln High School, where the student you're about to meet has earned wisdom beyond her years.
We know that there's a lot of people who are depressed and stuff, and we don't want anyone else to have sadness.
Yeah.
Just to brighten up other people's lives, because some people just have darkness within their lives, and we wanted to brighten it up.
4 years ago, as an 8th grader, Lincoln senior Damian Marlow was one of 2 students featured in what became one of the most popular videos the Sioux Falls School District has ever produced.
Because some of them just are miserable during their Christmas breaks.
Damian and fellow Axtell Park Middle School student Mary Martinez-Smith were hoping to brighten a day for students, but it's become something that's lasted much longer.
We stuck sticky notes on every locker in our school this morning. We wrote on the sticky notes. It took about 2 hours a day for 7 days.
And I spent 4 hours last night writing them, so she did a lot more work than me.
Yeah, I did get that a lot, and it kind of died down after a while. And I know freshman year I came to Lincoln, and they had this thing where they were they put paper, little notes in every locker, and I was just it's coming back to haunt me, because it was never supposed to be something big. It was actually supposed to be anonymous, which with a lot of my things, I like them to be anonymous because I'm a very look at the action, not the person kind of thing. And so I have heard a lot about that, and I'd say that definitely carries on to a lot of what I do today. It's still there. I still do that kind of thing. So yeah, I still hear a lot about it, and then I also I don't like talking about it to other people. I don't bring it up in conversations because, like I said, it's the action, not the person. So if you hear about it, that's good, but it's not me. But I do put that kind of thing into my blog and helping others. I still do that a lot. So I don't know, I guess that's just who I am.
The Lincoln staff members who know her best couldn't agree more.
That sounds like Damian. In the fall, we were working with many students, getting them ready for their college essays, and Damian was among us helping. I could see her comments on the Google Documents of students' work that I was helping with too. So she's just so passionate about helping other people.
She really is kind of a happy-go-lucky person. She always has a positive, kind of rosy outlook on things. She knows that things get tough. But she's got those tools to get over those tough times and get through them. She works. I always see her in the hallway smiling, laughing, talking with friends, and having a great time. And that will serve her well.
Today, it's an electronic version of the sticky notes, but she's still helping students who need it.
I actually started a blog for Stanford. It's called Secrets of Stanford, but it's a college advice kind of magazine, online magazine type of thing. I'd say that's what it is. Basically, I just write articles on how to make a better application or how to study for the ACT. I actually have a study plan on there for the ACT, and then other Stanford students contribute, so I've made it a group thing. So there's articles that I haven't written on there, but other students have written too. So I'm really busy with that right now.
Actually, she's really busy with a lot of things.
I'm also writing pieces for an SDSU writing competition, and then I run the English National Honor Society here at Lincoln, which also takes up a lot of my time because just kind of making the club work to multiple interests is difficult to do sometimes. So yeah, a lot of, I'd say, English takes up my time most of the time.
She neglected to mention she's also publishing a novel within the next 6 months. She's hoping it's done by May. And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
She's definitely a leader in the classroom. I happened to be a substitute for one period for orchestra I think it was Damian's sophomore year. And so I got to see her interact in a different classroom, and even then she was clearly a leader among her peers. She started the National English Honor Society here at Lincoln well after she was accepted at Stanford, so just to begin something and to continue a legacy of an appreciation of writing and reading, and that's really special.
Academically, she has taken full advantage of everything that we have to offer. She, at every step of the way, challenged herself, taking accelerated classes, advanced classes, AP classes. She's done wonderful with that. Her ability to kind of manage her time and study, do all these other things, do orchestra, extracurriculars, she's got a job, has really served her well with being able to kind of manage all those things together. It is uncommon to see a student who looks at every single class they take and say, is this the top level that I can take with this? We have a couple of students that do that, but it is pretty rare to see a student taking so many AP courses, so many accelerated courses, and just challenging themselves, like literally challenging herself every single step of the way. That's fairly uncommon. A lot of students will they want to get some kind of an easy class or something where there's not a lot of homework, and she never took that route. She looked to see what the most rigorous courses were and really stepped up to the plate with that.
She started taking AP classes as a freshman and is actually running out of them to take now as a senior. Damian mentioned studying for the ACT in her blog. That's because she's basically an expert on that test.
She applied to Yale, Stanford, Gustavus Adolphus, University of Minnesota, Coe College, South Dakota State University. I think she even applied to USF here in Sioux Falls. And actually, I think maybe what started some of that was after her ACT score, Yale actually contacted her. She sent me an email over the summer, last summer, saying, look at this, and it was a letter from Yale encouraging her to apply. And so I think that's part of what kind of helped push her towards some of those more elite schools. And then of course she wanted to make sure that she had options, especially with the financial aspect of it, to be able to make something work if she couldn't afford to go to Yale or Stanford or something like that.
I ended up getting a 35 on the ACT, which was shocking to me. Like, I was happy and I was like, okay, did not expect that at all. But then I got a 35 on it and Yale sent me a letter. And this was before I was not gonna apply to any Ivy Leagues. And they sent me a letter and I read it, but they had financial stuff on there. So I was like, I need to look at this because it said if you have a family income up under $65,000, you get a full ride. And so I was like, yeah, I need to look into that. Really, the letter to Yale did push me towards Yale a little bit more because I didn't know anything about Yale and that did give me information. But I'd say the letter to Yale kind of gave me a boost of confidence when it came to being able to afford college, and that kind of is what led to all of this.
This is that Damian will not only be attending Stanford in the fall, it's that she'll attend completely free of charge. She's earned a full-ride Questbridge scholarship.
Questbridge is an organization that pairs high-ability, low-income students with the colleges and universities of their dreams. So students like Damian get a chance to apply to Stanford. And I know there are 15,000 applicants. There were 15,000 applicants last year, and like 918 students get these full-ride scholarships, and Damian was one of them. And she's pretty special.
Damian she's a self-starter. Her ability to kind of figure out what she wants and go after it are really kind of the key components of who she is as a person. And that really allows her to do well in everything that she chooses to do. So she's, with the scholarship, she was the one that went out and found it. I didn't tell her about it. She knew that it was going to be paying for college would be an issue for her. And so she just went online and started searching scholarships and found this Questbridge scholarship and started the application process. And it's a pretty extensive process. eventually was able to get it. So it's a pretty great thing for her.
I actually had to go through a long process for financial aid because I have different circumstances than most students, and I had to get a dependency override, so I had no idea what I was doing, and a lot of teachers didn't know what that was either, so it's like, okay, if no one here knows what it is, I have to use the internet because that's the one tool I had left. And so I spent months researching how to be able to afford college. And I stumbled upon QuestBridge, I think in a college forum somewhere, and I looked it up, and that's kind of how I found it. Yeah, it took a long time. So I actually found the website I think a week and a half before the initial application was due. So I found it in mid-September, and the application was due September 26th. So that was when the first, the initial application was due. And that's just for QuestBridge, to determine whether or not you're a finalist. So that took a week and a half to fill out, and I kind of obsessed over it since I only had a week and a half. And then after that, it was just a waiting period until I think November 1st, I figured out whether or not I was a finalist.
A student in Damian's situation, it's hard because a lot of times, they're looking for scholarships, and a lot of these scholarships are very time intensive. You have to write an essay, you have to fill out applications, you have to answer some short answer questions. And for a lot of students that trips them up. They don't want to put that time and effort into doing that. And Damian really went out, and the QuestBridge scholarship is a very rigorous scholarship. That's part of how they kind of weed out some of the applicants is by making it so rigorous. And so the application process is a months-long process. There's a piece for the student where they have to write an essay and answer some questions. They have to verify some of their background stuff. They obviously have to be academically elite to be able to match, because it is a program that matches students with elite colleges. And then, it's like I said, it's a months-long process. And she did very well with it. So we're really happy that she matched with Stanford and is going to get that scholarship.
Her success as a senior is merely a continuation of her high school career. As a sophomore,
she got second place in a state writing contest. So among hundreds of entries across South Dakota, she received an award for her outstanding poetry. She was our student of the year. Each year we choose one student at each grade level for outstanding academic work in the English discipline, and Damian received the award that year. Her poetry, I think, speaks for itself. She has a magical way of being so intentional with language and capturing emotions in a short amount of words.
taking and excelling in the highest level of classes available means that Damian currently holds a 4.3 grade point average. Throughout high school, she's been involved in orchestra and track, although pursuing her greatest passions has meant changes.
I actually did stop doing orchestra this year because I tried it again. I took the first semester off just because I didn't have room for it in my schedule. And I tried it again second semester, and when I went in, I'm a very I trust in my instincts kind of person. So when I went in, I just did not get the feeling that that's where I should be. So I was just I'm not gonna do this anymore because if my heart's not in it, I'm not gonna enjoy this. And so I did drop it again, but I started a lot of stuff this year. I am an NHS and math NHS and science NHS. And I did start the English National Honor Society, which takes up a lot of my time. The Secrets of Stanford blog, that's kind of where my heart is right now because you can do so much with that and actually make an impact. So I'm working on promoting that and getting that out there. Those two are really big for me right now. I don't know if I'm gonna do track again this year, but my New Year's resolution, which I've always have issues sticking to, I'm so bad at them, but it was to get out of my comfort zone because I'm a very safety kind of person, and I like being able to just stay in my bubble where I can actually do my thing and do what I feel I'm supposed to do. I've tried, my New Year's resolution was to get out of that box because you're never gonna change anything if you're not willing to overreach sometimes. So I am training for a half marathon. I don't know how that'll go because that's death right now. It's so hard. But I'm also I'm coming up with plans for that. So I'd say those three things are a big deal. I like to paint, just do things on my own. I'm looking for a lot of writing contests because I like writing, so.
Finding a student with such an ACT score, grade point average, a full ride scholarship to Stanford, involvement in the school, and a penchant for perpetual improvement would be rare enough. But the fact that Damian has done this through not only financial challenges, but through tremendous personal cataclysms is nothing short of remarkable.
She's been on my caseload for all of her high school years, and probably during her sophomore year, I think, is when she started coming in to talk to me, kind of academic stuff, some personal issues and those kinds of things. And that's kind of how I first started to get to know Damian. A lot of times it starts off with something pretty benign, but they'll come in for a schedule change, or they'll come in for information about a college or something like that. And kind of as they get a little bit more comfortable with you, they'll kind of open up a little bit more and talk a little bit more, some personal things and issues, and they know they can trust you, and I was able to establish that with Damian, and so she started opening up with some of her issues and life things that are going on, and goals that she has and that kind of stuff.
She's incredibly ambitious. Like, she has this bottomless well of, I can do that. And she approaches every task that is before her with such alacrity and enthusiasm. She just smiles through it all. And she's overcome incredible obstacles in her life, which makes, I think, her attitude even more amazing. I think that's what makes Damian so special and so unique, is from somewhere she has this drive that doesn't quit. And maybe despite of her circumstances, or maybe because of them, she constantly pushes herself and encourages all the people around her to go along with her.
I'm not really I won't say it's a hopeless romantic type of thing, but I'm very like I don't know, like spiritual type of person, if that makes sense. Like, I just feel like that kind of thing. And so I feel like when we're born, we're all like predisposed to what we're supposed to do in our life. And that's like just your biological makeup and like how the chemical balances are in your brain. And when I was born as a more stubborn person and more like intuitive kind of thing. Like, the thing with me is I listen to a lot of people, and I actually pay a lot more attention to people than I think they notice, because I do talk a lot, but people don't realize that I do pay more attention to them and like the world than like what they get first impression type of thing. So I do pay a lot of attention to my surroundings, and I feel like even when I was little, that's what's built me up, because I did live with my mom until I was like 5, and she was a meth addict and an alcoholic the entire time. It was really sad. And I lived with my sister and my mom. We visited my dad every once in a while, but like things were funky then. So that was really unreliable. But so when I was there though, like for some reason I could tell, even at a young age, like I could tell when people were sad and that kind of thing. So I never really blamed her for addiction or anything like that, because she did have her own emotional issues and that kind of thing. And most people be like, it's your addiction, get over it, like you solve your own problems. And I'm like, you can't necessarily blame her. Like, yeah, my main belief is if you're not willing to help yourself, no one else can help you. But then again, you have to understand why people do certain things. So I've always been a very understanding person. And so, I think that's kind of built who I am as a person and why I become so stubborn, because everyone nowadays is so judgmental. Like, they take things as what they believe is correct. And so I've always been really set on just understanding other people's circumstances and knowing there's not a black and white when it comes to the world. And so that's also contributed to my stubbornness and how I knew, even though everything was set against me, there is not a black and white, whether or not you can or cannot do something. You can always find a way around things. So when it came to me and everyone would be like, you're not gonna be able to afford college or that kind of thing, I'd be like, okay, that's not how the world works. There are so many, I'm a very big person on loopholes too. And there are just so many ways if you need to work around your situation, because I can't change anything about my situation. And that's kind of where I understand other people, is if you can't change your situation, you change yourself. And so, again, back to my mom, she couldn't change what happened to her or her past. And so that's what I focused on when I was looking at all these scholarships and stuff. I couldn't change what had happened. I just had to work with what I had. From everything I've learned throughout my life, even when I was young, it's built me into this kind of person where it's I see these people fall apart and they blame it on their past and that kind of thing. And you have to understand why they do it, but you also have to understand that if you can do something to keep yourself from becoming that person, like you have to learn from your experiences with that kind of thing. So I'd say it's just probably all of my experiences with like what I shouldn't do, and I've kind of just used that.
With her, her personal situation, I've seen a number of students in the similar situations kind of take that easy way out of giving up, using it as an excuse to give up. And she really used her situation as fuel to go forward and keep moving when things got tough. And the rigor and the resiliency that she shows is really impressive.
Just like with the sticky notes, or the National English Honor Society chapter she founded at Lincoln, or the blog she created to help students through the college application process, she's constantly giving more.
She's a peer tutor, and she works with some of our younger students in the classroom, helping them out with the homework and maybe helping the teacher explain something individually to a student who needs a little bit extra help. And so I know with our teachers especially, it's nice to have somebody who has that ability to connect with other people and be able to kind of assist that teacher in explaining concepts that might be difficult to understand.
Miss Basika actually put me in the ELO room. It's during their lunch. So it's not like a set in stone kind of thing, like people come in when they need help and then they come in, like they don't come in when they don't. So I don't know, I get a lot of random subjects in there. Right now I'm helping a girl with Algebra 2, so I kind of just try to break things down a little bit more. And my friend actually helps tutor her after school sometimes, and she says she actually has issues with word problems, like the longer ones, because she is a refugee, so she did have to learn English when she came here, so it's fairly new to her. And I can relate really strongly to that because word problems always messed me up. So I'm trying to figure out a way right now to figure out how to break those down for her. So I don't know, it's a lot of, I feel like the peer tutoring I'm doing now is a lot more personal than the one I did last semester because there are fewer students. I was thinking about doing an art class, and then I was thinking about doing creative writing. And I was like, okay, that's really dumb to do because I can draw and I can paint. Like, I don't need a class to do that. I'm not learning anything. And then I was also like, I don't need creative writing. I already do that, I don't need that either. So at first I was considering switching it because I wanted to do something I actually like to do. And then I was like, but that's pointless. Like, it helps no one here. That doesn't help me and it doesn't help society, so why would I waste my time? And so I was like, I'll just keep peer tutoring and I don't know where I'm gonna go, but I'll just try to help students even though I have no idea where I'm going right now. And then she placed me with ELL, which actually was really good. I really like that she placed me with ELL because of my major I really want to do right now, which might change in the future because that's college, but so because of the international relations major, I'm glad she placed me with ELL because it does give me like an insight into other cultures like in the world. So I don't know, I kept it because I felt like it was the most beneficial to everyone in the long run.
In looking toward the future, Damian has plans at Stanford.
It's always gone down to like what I'm actually passionate about, and that's English and politics because I'm a very opinionated person. And I do like listen to other people, and that's kind of why I like politics, because politics is about listening to people. And I feel like personally through my opinion, that's one of the issues of politics nowadays is no one listens to each other. And so I think I'm settling on international relations because I also like exploring and I like the world and just different cultures and how like they mix together and that kind of thing. So I think I'm looking at international relations right now, but when I applied, it was microbiology, so it's changed, and that's not a set in stone thing, but after doing research, international relations seems like the best for me, but I am planning on minoring in at least English. Like, I want English in there somewhere, so.
But she also has plans to continue to help at Lincoln.
I'm trying to plan like a after-school presentation type of thing on QuestBridge and like the entire college process, and I will connect that to my blog. I'll probably record it and put it on there. But I'm trying to start like a presentation, like plan it, start planning it, everything, a presentation on QuestBridge, just because like I said, no one knows what it is. So I feel like I kind of just want to raise awareness about, because there are certain students like me, like I was planning on just going to a state school because I didn't know how else I was going to afford college. And so I know there are a lot of students who have a similar situation where they don't know how they're going to go to college because it's so expensive nowadays and there's no reason for that, but that's how it is. And so, I don't know, I think I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with that kind of thing, but I definitely want to leave something so students remember that college process doesn't have to be as complicated or as maybe like scary as they think it is, you know, but right now I'm just focusing on the presentation because there are a lot of students whose parents have gone to college and they like know what they're doing, they have guidance, but then there are all those students who have no idea what's going on. So right now I'm just focusing on kind of just reminding juniors right now that there are ways around things if they feel like they can't get past something.
Passion, motivation, and generosity, combined with her energy and wisdom, will almost certainly continue to open doors.
She's one of those people who says she's going to change the world and means it. Like, I have no doubt that she'll do wonderful things at Stanford.
And continue to leave inspired and grateful people in her wake.
I think that Damian would say, no matter your circumstances, you can do anything you want to do.